Hello and good evening, everyone. This is your host, Ruth Kakias. Eric Wilson has given me the reins to take over this evening's segment of the Sports Arena on this lovely Monday evening. I hope all our viewers out there are having a great Monday night, and hopefully you guys had a great weekend. We have a lot to get to this Monday evening. We'll be discussing the madness of that transpired over the weekend during Fight Island. I'm sure a lot of you were tuned in to the UFC fights that happened on Saturday night, so we will be discussing that. After that, we'll be discussing the transition of the NBA to start off their postseason. We do have some injury reports and some test positive that have come upon some of the star players in the NBA, so we will be getting to that. I will go ahead and introduce our cast for tonight. We have Jake Rajon joining me today. Jake, how we doing? Jake is here from Turning Point Podcast and also Turning Points and both sides of the story. Jake, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic, Ruth. It's great to be on.
Awesome. I've never seen you in a hat before. It's a great look.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And the hair is just too long right now, so I just drew on my Fox NFL hat. So
We're enjoying the quarantine look. Thank you so much for joining us, Jake. We also have Alex Fleming from Turf Talk every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. He is also joining us this evening. Alex, how we doing? 1 second, Alex. I think we have you muted. Let's fix that. We can't have this man muted. Ready when you are, Alex.
Oh, I'm not muted? Oh, I'm live.
Welcome to the show, Mr. Fleming.
Hello, Mr. Unicorn.
Believe in yourself and dream big.
I like that. So good to hear from the both of you guys. I hope you guys are doing well with the quarantine going on, continuing. We've had some excruciating high numbers exploding in the state of Florida. So everybody keep your mask on in public, practice social distancing, and do your part to not help the spread of this virus, because it's been taking the world for a spin, as well as our sports world. We've definitely been taking a backseat to all this COVID nonsense. How are you guys feeling about the what transpired over the weekend? They had the UFC fights taken on in a different island, a different part of the world, to get away from this COVIDness. How do you think that Dana White handled this over the weekend?
I thought Dana White did a great job with this. I think this was actually a smart idea. You're getting away from the COVID-19. You're getting away from all the spiking that has been happening within the coronavirus, especially in Florida, Texas. The West Coast has been having issues. I mean, California just shut down today because Governor Gavin Newsom believes that is what's going to help the COVID-19 outbreak kind of start to slow down. Went to Abu Dhabi, got a lot of great press out of this. They did have a couple of controversies, but I thought that the fight between Jorge Masvidal and Usman, I thought was a success. I wanted Usman to win. I'm not going to lie to you. Masvidal needed to shut up, and I was waiting for that moment, and he did. Every time Masvidal had a couple of good kick techniques towards Usman, he would just grab him and then just chuck him right into the mat. He couldn't get off the chain links or anything like that. He couldn't get any big time moves. His combinations weren't hitting correctly. Usman dominated that fight, and I think that was a huge success, because the problem was Masvidal, he took this way too soon. He had less than a week to train for this after Gilbert Burns tested positive for the COVID-19. So hopefully Masvidal learns from his mistakes. He's a very good fighter, but now that's his 14th loss, and I don't know when we're going to see him opportunity. But I think that Usman definitely deserved to win that one, and I thought that it was a success.
Alex, can we get your take on Fight Night?
I completely agree with Jake Rajon. I'm doing this for not one but two reasons. Can you understand me clearly?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
With that being said, did you guys step outside today? It was hot as hell. It was hotter than Bobby Brown's spoon outside today, bro. It was really, really, really hot. Yeah.
I was working out today, and every time I got out of that car, I was like, I'm just gonna go back in. I'm just gonna go back in. It's way too hot out here.
Yes. Fight Island, Abu Dhabi, off of what, 7-8 day notice? Now you had a run in with this cat in Miami, but Usman had a broken hand. So you challenged a wounded animal. Number two, you took this fight way too soon, bro. Usman jumped on him quick, got him clinched up because, Masvidal likes to throw those hands, stepping on his foot, getting him discombobulated, got away with at least 3 headbutts that you could have saw. He was headbutting them all night. I'm telling you, it was that type of show. Inside shots, keeping them low, keeping them grounded. He could never get started. He won round 1 jumping on him. Round 2, Usman barely won, only because he landed more shots. Round 3, Masvidal was tired. He was gassed. You didn't train for this fight right. Now, if you'd have trained for this fight, I think Masvidal would have gave him some 2 pieces and a biscuit, but that didn't happen. And that's what you get when you're too damn cocky and you challenge a champion with a broken hand. He had that handwritten ass whipping coming to him.
All right, so we have Steven Austin in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in, Austin. He says you were talking about far the most boring fight. Gentlemen, what would you say about him saying that they had the most boring fight of the night? And who would you put as the most exciting fight of the night?
Because look at Masvidal. He's lost 14 fights. You know how many fights Usman has lost? 1. He's lost
that
one
wasn't the best fight, though.
fight.
That wasn't the best fight.
1.
Though.
And that was it. I mean, Dana White took such a big chance to go out to a fight island out in Abu Dhabi of somewhere and decided to make this thing happen. I mean, I think that's what needed was that credit, because understand, MLS is coming back here. He needed to try and continue and get those ratings for ESPN, and this was a great prime opportunity. But the problem was when Gilbert Burns went down with the COVID-19 virus, he had less than a week to find somebody. Masvidal thought he was like the greatest thing since Conor McGregor, and he went full on McGregor right into that fight. And then, unfortunately, he ended up just like the Mayweather-McGregor fight.
Was there any other fights that you guys don't want to talk about? Anything controversy? Go ahead, Alex.
All right, the fight right before Usman and Masvidal, homeboy in black shorts versus a homeboy in white and green orange shorts. I'm not going to disrespect them because I don't remember their name. It'll come to me when I'm not thinking about it. Anyway, they were throwing some fists. They were slapping each other around. That was a very close fight. But just like in the ball in baseball, when you hit first base, the tie always goes to the runner. This tie went to the champion. This was a very close fight that could have went either way. But since the champion did the little things and didn't do anything that got him hurt bad, it went to the champion. That's a fight that probably could have went the opposite direction. Then you got the big boys with Poirier and some guy, I think it was Lisbon, I'm not sure. Big boy comes in, tries to do some type of jumping Superman garbage. Homeboy was winded because he caught him on the left hook about 20 seconds earlier. Bro lowered his hands and pop, pop, sleep. He dropped. It was beautiful. I'm trying to tell you. It was poetry in motion. When a big guy lands a 2-piece like that, butter.
Yes, I think we can all agree that Fight Night was an exciting night, and it definitely gave all of our sports lovers something to tune into. We definitely thank Dana White for putting in the effort of creating all that madness for us to tune into on Saturday. We will leave it at that for the MMA fighting. Next up, we're going to talk about the return of the NBA, what is going on inside the National Bubble Association. We've had some striking news today that Rondo is going to be out for the next 6 to 8 weeks. Jake, what do you think that's going to do for the starting lineup and the Lakers? Does that harm their chances of completing the season with the NBA championship?
I don't think it's going to harm chances because he will be back in the second round. If it does happen where the Lakers could possibly meet the Grizzlies or the Blazers in the first round, and then maybe that's a possibility, but I really don't feel like this is going to be a big loss. I mean, yes, he's out for 6 to 8 weeks with a broken thumb injury. In 48 games, he with LeBron James, they actually had the best defensive rating on the team with 110.9. Their net rating was minus 5.4. And even though Rondo is a big loss, he's had one of his best seasons in the last couple of years. I mean, because last year he was a disaster. This year he looked like he was getting that spark back like he was back when he was in Boston and then with the Pelicans briefly. But no, I don't think that this is going to be that big of a loss. This is a good opportunity for Alex Caruso to step up, Kyle Kuzma to mix it up. And understand, Frank Vogel has a hell of a bench. to work with. And the Lakers and the Clippers, to me, those are the two teams that you have to watch out for. The Lakers and the Clippers both are incredibly solid in the depth chart, and I think they'll be just fine because Rondo will be back in time when the Lakers are trying to get that title.
Alex from Turf Talk, let me get your take.
Hot bullets. I'd love to see the Clippers versus the Lakers. The only problem is, unfortunately, I don't believe it's going to happen. Take a ride with me here. You're going to tell 20-some-odd young men with money, most of them black, by the way, not that that matters or not, to not go outside of the bubble in the Disney area, Davenport, Kissimmee, Tampa Bay, down the damn street, St. Petersburg, with the ladies playing WNBA in Bradenton, and they all don't swing all one way, to not break or conduce the bubble. Russell Wilson just came down with COVID that he admitted today. Imagine Houston without Russell. That's not cool, bro. I don't want to see that. Bro, yeah. Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert might actually have some real beef. But considering all the casualties in the West, Utah can actually be one of them hot fire teams. Think about it. You think Portland's going to make that 8th spot? I still got John Morant, Rookie of the Year.
I'm all for the Grizzlies. Yes, I'm all for the Grizzlies.
Portland built themselves a hole in the beginning because they weren't playing real basketball until it actually effing mattered. And now they got Dollar Dame back, but he may not come back. So with or without Dollar Dame, you already have yourself a hole just trying to get to the 8th spot, besides Sacramento and San Antonio and the Pelicans and all this other nonsense. And Memphis just needs to win 3 out of 10, and it's a wrap. So let's just end that nonsense. Number 2, how long is this going to last for? Rondo went down with a thumb injury, but they just picked up J.R. Smith. You can get Alex Caruso. You got Kyle Kuzma. Dwight Howard's coming back, and you got Anthony Davis. Am I supposed to feel sorry for LeBron James? Because I don't.
No, absolutely not. No.
Okay. And number 3, there's been rumblings about Aaron Gordon going to Golden State because they were interested about him last year. Now, all of a sudden, after this shortened season, do you really want to see a Golden State Warriors squad with the number 1 pick, a healthy Seth Curry, maybe Clay, maybe not Clay, add Aaron Gordon, Draymond Green got his bag, and plenty of cap room? That's a damn nightmare. So, no, I don't think we're going to complete a season this season because somebody's going to break that bubble. It's going to get burst, okay, just like Earl Thomas's wife. All right, straight up. And things aren't going to finish.
Okay, so what you're saying is that these men that are going to be getting paid millions of dollars to complete the NBA season are not going to withstand the rules, and that there might be a hole on
No. Let's not twist my words now. Let's just be honest here. You have people who tested at least twice during the week just to go to watch the games and to cover games. But that's neither here nor there. You got players that are going to have to be tested, if not every day, every other day. You got team facilities, team staff. Now, of all these people you can accommodate at Disney, it only takes one person to ruin an entire tree of apples. How long do you think it's going to be before somebody either A, contracts it, B, messes up, doesn't try to contract it, and actually is contracted, C, systematic, and somebody else gets it, and then people start dropping like flies? It could be before the NBA Finals, the Clippers versus the Lakers, if they do the original 16 bracket. East-West is probably going to be Boston versus LA. I don't know. But somebody's going to get it. The chances of this going on without anything going unscathed is low, and I don't like the chances. We're spiking right now. This is just common sense.
You're absolutely right. And people just have to understand that there could be a possibility of start and stop. There could be a start and stop a couple of times. We just don't know what's going to happen. At least we give credit to Adam Silver for at least trying this. To me, I don't think that they should have 22 teams down there. I think they should just stick with the 16. 8 teams on the East, 8 teams in the West, and let's play. That's all they needed. But now you're putting in 22 teams. You're putting out the chance of COVID-19 spiking up once again, and then it could possibly get worse. Yeah, Alex, I understand that, but I think the NBA season will still go on, but I don't think it's going to be consistent. I think that could be a start and stop. I think it could come to this point, and I'm just being flat out speculative, but I think after the abbreviated regular season, the NBA might have to look back and say, okay, how many tests were positive? Is this too much right now? Do we need to take like 2 or 3 weeks off and then come back for the playoffs? So there is a lot of uncertainty, a lot of questions looking for answers, but at least I want to see if this is going to work underneath this situation, because December is only a few months away for the next season.
No, absolutely. Alex, do you have a point?
Yes, bro. You see me wearing this, and I was able to go through a segment breathing through it. If I can't have a football season because cats like y'all out there can't wear a damn face mask, I'm gonna get real rude.
Go for it.
Bro.
Absolutely.
Bro.
No, I feel like that's something very important that the world needs to know. If we want to maintain this virus, we need to do whatever it takes to complete it. So if that means you have to wear a mask going to the grocery store, please do so, just to help your society, because we're trying to get through
this. Watch your entitlement.
It's really
and wash your hands.
Oh, man.
Absolutely. All right, gentlemen. Well, that was a great discussion on the return of the NBA. But before we turn over to the next subject, I do want to bring up the name changes that are going to be on the back of these jerseys during the NBA. Do you feel that LeBron James has lost any credibility to the social injustice movement by stating that he was not going to change the name on the back of his jersey? Alex, I'll start with you.
Go for it, Alex.
Thank you. Okay. This is the guy that built the school, always donates back to Akron, donates to the LA community, Boy Scouts. Had a 1-hour special taking his talent to South Beach that helped the Boys and Girls Club. James is active in the community. Actions sometimes actually speak louder than words. That's why when people like news stations that want to be news stations say shut up and dribble, because they're trying to silence you, because your actions can't be ignored. LeBron James doesn't have a damn thing to prove.
Right.
And for the simple fact that Black Lives Matter is going to be on the basketball courts, everybody's playing in the NBA. I don't want to admit this, but the NBA marches to LeBron James' beat. He said, let's play. They're in a bubble in Orlando, and they're playing. Back up off LeBron. This is not the time to be picking fights.
Absolutely. Jake?
If you're seriously trying to pick a fight with LeBron James right now, you are playing a losing fight, and all you're trying to do is click, 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 click. That's all you're trying to do is create clicks. If he chooses to do something in a different way of peaceful protesting, let him. It's the same thing with Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis was on yesterday, and he talked about how the name on his jersey is more important. He believes that's his peaceful protest because he knows what kind of person that he is with this. If somebody chooses not to wear one of the 29 that were approved from the NBA, they don't need to. So if Anthony Davis and LeBron James say, no, I got a different way, go ahead. We live in a country of freedom of speech, freedom of action. If you choose to do it in this way, go ahead. You're LeBron James. I mean, you are the face of the NBA. You are the biggest reason that this is actually happening because you, a couple months ago, said, I want to play basketball. And that's why the NBA came out with this plan for Orlando and situating with these 22 teams and giving LeBron James an opportunity to get to the championship. Because guess what? Like or hate him, he is the face of the NBA. Anyway, thinking that this is a problem, stop with the clicks.
Just to add to that, Jake, LeBron actually made a comment when it came towards them shutting down the NBA that he says that he will not play if there is no crowd to play for. Now, it seems like he has changed his tune just a little bit under the circumstances, which I definitely understand. So, but we'll leave it off with the NBA. With that, thank you so much, gentlemen. We have Alex with Turf Talk and Jake Roundhill with Turning Point Podcast. Now we're going to switch over to the NFL. So today, the Redskins were supposed to change their name. We have yet to hear the new name of the Washington Redskins. What is your take on the time that it's taking for this process to be complete?
Such a joke. It's a joke. This should have been done back in 1972. This should have been done when Kent Cook was the owner. And it was only because, as I said on the last Sports Arena, you went after his pocket. And that's the only reason that Daniel Snyder. Did you guys see that letter today? What a tone-deaf letter that was. I was blown away. I was blown away. I could not believe this. Like, he's like, oh, we're going to change it. And for the next 100 years, we're going to have something completely different. Shush. Okay. You're 139 and 185 and 1. The only reason that you're doing this is because of FedEx, because of PepsiCo, because all of these companies told you that they were not going to do this. This is also because the minority stock of 40%, these people were going to get rid of the stock. Your franchise is a laughing stock. And the only reason that you have credibility for the future is because you went out and hired Ron Rivera. And you also have a guy like Dwayne Haskins out there talking about trying to create a different culture. That's the only reason you are doing this right now. I give props finally for actually changing it in 2020 when you should have been doing this 50 years ago. But I'm actually excited to see what the new name will be, and I want to see. There is one thing I will say, though. L. Duncan on Around the Horn brought up a very good point. They were talking about how they want the Washington Red Tails, and she said as her grandfather was part of the Tuskegee Airmen, she was uncomfortable with that. She didn't know if she wanted such a tone-deaf franchise to be able to have that name going forward for the NFL. So there is still a lot to unpack with this, and I don't know what it's going to be. Honestly, I just figure just do a generic one. Do like Warriors or Red Hawks or what Fred Smoot wants, the Red Wolves.
So we have James Flash Ludeman. Thank you so much for tuning in, James. He says, you know what's interesting about this? The owner said a few years ago that he would never change the name. He also said you can capitalize the word never. Alex, what is your take on the statement that he made, back in the day of what is transpiring at the moment?
I want to say thank you to my brother Jake Rongho, because you know what? He started the sermon. Let me have some things to say. Since I am in the Washington Redskins fan page, let me tell you, I've never seen this much moisture before in my life. I've been to a rainforest before, but let me tell you, it was moist in that room. A lot of angry, jaded, gilded people letting the ugliness of bigotry and racism show. George Preston Marshall was a devout racist. And I say that with emphasis because he damn sure was. He was the last NFL franchise to even integrate. So why are we shocked when he passed up on Banks and Davis in college and he signed Brian Mitchell? To add worse to that, you're going to use Lackey Taylor, Native American, and his likeness so that way it could be the image of the football team. Yet it wasn't until recently with Snyder and his losing ways to even have a foundation for Native American tribal councils outside of the Washington area. Let's not even go with stereotypes. Oh my gosh, you got people lighter than the Caucasus Mountains, dressed up in headdress, trying to act like Native American chiefs, cereals, Apache, like Lone Ranger without the Tonto. And I'm like, bro, this has been going on for decades, and this is after Marshall. Cook approached McDonald's and was like, hey, can you please tone down the ignorance because you're emboldening people to say that this isn't racist and is actually accepted. If you took up the time to look up the damn definition of a redskin, it's a scalped Native Americans. That means it's a scalped dead Indian. How dumb do you have to be as a franchise to not realize after 87 years, hey, that just might be offensive? And let me give you some more moisture out of this chat room. They say, well, if they're going to pick on us, why not the Atlanta Braves? How about the Kansas City Chiefs? The Dallas Cowboys, they used to hunt down slaves. That's what it's for. I find that offensive. These people are entitled and feel that the world is theirs. And they got knocked off their damn pedestal today. Last week, I had people saying some racial murmurs to me in the chat room because they didn't like my talk. Today was a beautiful day, and I got a lot accomplished today. But yes, people have to understand, even as a reporter or just as a writer, there's a difference when the season is on and when the season is not on. Woj got suspended from the NBA because of these internet Twitter clowns talking garbage. Now, bro, I'm not Wojnarowski. I'm not hard to find. Please, you can find me. I'm in these streets, well around Orlando. Please come visit me, for real. But with that being said, if they could get to Woj, it's not safe. And a chat room on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter shouldn't have to deal with Nazis, bigots, Karens, and All Lives Matter posts.
Right. And as you bring up social media, it's very important for people to understand the magnitude that social media has during this social injustice movement. We've actually had some NFL players use their social media platform to uprise people and let people be aware of the social injustices that our country are still facing today. Breonna Taylor's killers still need to be arrested. That still needs to be spoken about, and that still needs to be highlighted. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for wrapping up the discussion with the Redskins. Now we're moving on to my lovely Cowboys. I have Jake Rogholt here from 20 Point Podcast and Alex Fleming from Turf Talk. Let's talk some turf, okay? So Dak Prescott and my Dallas Cowboys are in turn trying to come up with a long-term agreement. The Dallas Cowboys has until July 15th is their deadline, okay? And our Dak Prescott has signed the franchise tag. What is your take on what direction the Cowboys will be going in if they cannot complete this long-term contract with Dak? Alex, let me start with you.
Uh-oh.
Is he messing with me?
He's speechless right now. There he is.
Oh, wait.
Right now.
Wait, can you hear me now?
There he
Can you hear
is.
me now?
He just had to remind us. Oh, right, he did send the franchise tag.
Okay, with the July 15th deadline.
Give me in 10 seconds. I got you. What did I miss?
Come again, Alex?
I can't hear Ruthie. Oh, no. Jake, bro, yeah, you got to tell me what she said, or else I'm going to have to bounce out.
You can't hear me?
This broadcast. I'm too thug.
Oh, she was asking about Dak Prescott, what the future holds for him and the Dallas Cowboys as the quarterback.
He's going to get traded. Bro,
oh,
you got 2 days. You got 2 days.
That's all they need, Alex.
Contract. Let's get this money. You about to get a franchise tag for $31 million and hop, skip, and jump bail. Bro, that's real. Why does Jerry not want to pay this man? Dak Prescott is not going to be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys if he don't get his money in 48 hours. This sounds like a bad Eddie Murphy movie. Bro, Andy Dalton's already back up there, and they paid Andy Dalton more than what Cam Newton and Jameis Winston is going to be getting. That's some BS, and his is guaranteed. Unlike Cam's, he's got to earn it. And Jameis signed for what? A taco and chicken on Taco Tuesday? It was rough. So, yes, if Dak doesn't get a bag in 2 days, kiss his half-black ass goodbye. You see what I did there? Yeah, I got away with it.
With that being said, Alex, where would you
anyway? All right, the Giants are going to be garbage. Washington might surprise, but they might be 7-9 because they got all this hoopla and background noise. The Eagles. Do the Eagles scare you? Let me be completely honest. They can beat up on the NFC East. Do the Eagles scare you? Hell to the no. No, we serve it.
You heard that, Eric?
Sunday. So if Dallas doesn't do something this year, you can expect Dak to be gone.
Well, I don't think he's going to be gone, but I will say that Clarence Hill of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram reported that the negotiations between Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys has not happened since the month of March. So this is not going to happen. This is exactly why he signed the tag. This is not harmonious. This is not like the Kansas City Chiefs, where it's like Little House on the Prairie with Patrick Mahomes and the general manager of the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, come on now. And, Andy Reid, can you imagine them just going down the prairie skipping at this point? Or the Dallas Cowboys, it's them fighting each other, rolling down the same hill at this point. He is not going to get signed. He's going to go through the franchise tag, and he's going to bet on himself once again. Either it's going to be a good Eddie Murphy movie or it's going to be a bad Eddie Murphy movie, like another 48 hours. So forget about the 48-hour deadline. It's nothing but click, click, click. And Dak Prescott is just going to be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys in 2020. We'll see what happens. Keep in mind, they offered him a 5-year deal for $34 million a year and $110 million guaranteed, and he said no. So now it's up to Mike McCarthy and Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones to believe that Dak Prescott is the future after 2020, and that's all it's going to be right now.
Wait a minute. Jake, I saw what you did there, and let's be completely honest.
Okay.
Yes, they offered him a 5-year, $34 million contract
Yes,
a year.
true.
Did you see what Patrick Mahomes just got, bro? Did you
He's
just see
not
what
Patrick
he got?
Mahomes.
So if Dak would have took that...
Is he an MVP?
Okay, fair enough.
Alex,
That's
has he
Mahomes.
been an
Dak isn't
MVP?
Mahomes.
Has he won a Super Bowl? Has he come back 3 straight games in a row to the Houston Texans, the Tennessee Titans, and the San Francisco 49ers? The answer is no.
Fair enough. Here's what I'm trying to say, though. He's not making Kirk Cousins money. He's not making A-Rod money. He's not making, obviously he's not making Mahomes money. He's not making Wilson money. As a matter of fact, Tom Brady's been taking cuts to make the New England Patriots better for quite some years, and he's not making Brady money. This man has the second most wins behind Tom Brady, and he's getting paid crumbs off the pie slice. Bro, what would you do? They got 4 years of service damn near basically for free, and the 1 year they're going to pay you is going to be the last year you're there. It's like, damn, you can't win for losing. And who picks up Dak's contract? Because he's going to want to get paid, bro.
That's something I wanted to ask you, gentlemen. Where do you see Dak Prescott fitting in? What NFL team do you see him fitting in if he does not come to a long-term agreement with the Dallas Cowboys?
This is full-on speculation, but I think the only one I can think of is the Los Angeles Chargers, I guess. I don't know, because I seriously have no idea what in the world that team is doing right now. I mean, they got Tyrod Taylor and they got Justin Herbert, and I'm sitting here going, oh, okay, I don't know. I don't know if Dak Prescott honestly is going to leave Dallas unless he is forced to leave. All right, so I'm not going to go that far with that, but it would be kind of funny to see him like jump divisions or basically just pull off like a poor imitation of Brett Favre going from the Dallas Cowboys to the Washington whatevers or the whatevers.
The Washington whatevers. No, the Washington TBDs is what we're going to call them.
Is what?
The Washington TBDs. To be determined.
To be determined? Oh, bro, the only landing spot I could see for Dak Prescott that actually makes half-ass sense.
Half-ass sense.
Seriously feel like I'm in Eddie Murphy Raw right now.
Okay, so are you saying that he would come in and take Matt Ryan's job? Like if it were to come down to Matt Ryan or Dak Prescott?
Here's all I'm saying. This is the only thing I'm saying. Can you name Matt Ryan's backup? Number 2, Matt Ryan's been blessed with not having to deal with any injuries, but his offensive line, half of all season, was basura. They were hurt and they were gone. Once Lindstrom and McGarry came back on that right side, they won 5 straight. I mean, Matt Gay did miss 3 field goals, but you play to win the game. They won 5 straight. If something were to happen to Matt Ryan, bro, you just signed Hayden Hurst. You got a running back with some bad knees, and I'm saying that nicely. You have the best wide receiver in football who can't catch a large amount of touchdowns, and you got a true number 2 that blossomed after Mohamed Sanu left, but he's catching all the damn touchdowns. Oh, and your defense, bro, your defense is burnt toast. AJ Terrell, Tyler Hall. Oh my goodness! I'm telling you, I'm watching. Who's that white geeky guy that makes the hip hop videos to work that ass for daddy? Yeah, that's how bad the wide receivers of the NFC South are beating this secondary. I mean, they're just beating on them.
I love it.
It's bad. Michael Thomas, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, DJ Moore, Samuel Abichi too, McCaffrey when he lines up at wide receiver. They have a horrible defense. You need a quarterback if Matt Ryan goes down to actually keep the ship sailing. Julio's the best wide receiver. Calvin Ridley's a damn good number 2. You got your tight end. The only thing solid about this team is the offensive line.
Respect. Totally respect.
Thank you. Right now. And actually, that backup quarterback is Matt Schaub.
So Matt Ryan and Matt Schaub.
Yeah.
All right, so one more topic that I want to go over with you gentlemen before we close out tonight's segment is I know that you guys have probably seen the new helmet formats with Oakley with the shading over the eyes and then the mouthpiece and the helmets. How do we feel about that being effective of not transmitting the disease during the NFL season. Does the NFL organization have the opportunity to actually put the players in a bubble during the NFL season? Jake, what's your take on that?
This is a good step forward. I mean, I don't know if it's going to work unless they experiment with it. They have to get some NFL players to, try on this helmet, see if they can actually breathe in it. But I do love that, Oakley did team up with the NFL to at least come up with some ideas. You still have a couple more months until the season starts. So you have this opportunity now to create. And if they feel like, okay, this test doesn't work, all right, let's go on to the next one and the next one. You're trying to make this game as safe as possible because you can't be 6 feet away from each other. It's not possible for an offensive line and a defensive line to be like, okay, everybody get out your measuring tape. All right, 6 feet away. Okay, now we'll just have the quarterback sit back and just fire or something like that. So I like the way that they're doing this, and I think that they'll perfect it, and it should work going forward. I mean, also, if they can perfect it and actually make it safe, then there will be a good chance there won't be so many opt-out opportunities for NFL players.
Alex Fleming, I'm going to you. What do you think about these new helmet concepts? Do you think that will they work?
I love how they did it with the Baltimore Ravens and the spill guard so you can cover up your face properly past the face mask. Here's the problem. NFL's not taking this completely, utterly seriously. Now, what is the likelihood that the offensive lineman or defensive lineman is going to contract this COVID-19 from being within close proximity of people that they're trying to sack or hurt or get to the quarterback? Now, let me look at it this way. We live in an entitlement society where some choose to wear the mask and some don't. Some show off their forehead and say, I choose not to wear my mask. It's my choice. Good for you, Karen. In the NFL, you don't have that choice because you're in close proximity. Why is Baltimore, San Francisco, Kansas City, and New Orleans always at the top for the last 4 or 5 years? Because they've been drafting offensive line since 2011. Ronnie Stanley, all BS aside, is probably the best tackle in football right now, next to Tyron Smith. That's how El Freaky wasn't sacked so many times. This is a game of attrition. So if the NFL actually really cared, you would expand the rosters, make the games every 2 weeks, because you're asking for contact when some guy's flying from New York and they play for Detroit, and then they're coming down to Arizona when we're spiking, and then sooner or later you got to play Miami or Tampa. And do you really want to fire those cannons when people are dusting your ass with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Keyshawn Vaughn, and all them, and then you get sick, and then your whole team gets sick? It's like an ODB song. You're about to catch AIDS or something. Not saying if I got it, but if I got it, you got it.
Right.
I seriously believe, Ruth and Alex, that the NFL season is going to be postponed a month. They have to be able to figure out more than just this helmet. There needs to be a way to play this game safely. Otherwise, like I said, you will possibly see some NFL players just say, to heck with this season and opt out. I mean, we're not going to have college football. It's coming down the line. Ivy League, Patriot League, they're dropping out. They're moving to the spring. And then we're going to possibly have this with the Big Ten and the Pac-12 and the SEC. I mean, the SEC is meeting in late July. So the NFL should be watching what college football is doing. And if they can't get anything to work, because remind yourself, even though this is a good prototype, the players have to sign off on this. J.C. Treader, the president of the NFL Players Association, who's done an excellent job throughout this whole process, he has to sign off on this and okay with the players. So going forward, just watching the next couple of weeks while the NBA and Major League Baseball is happening, we're going to start seeing some different kinds of news in the NFL coming out.
Bring it back. I got
Go ahead, Alex.
Bring it back.
So
All right.
I befriended a doctor, and I believe a doctor is a little bit smarter than people who like to be Twitter or Facebook warriors. With that being
I'll agree to that.
Agreed.
It's not a safe environment when you have 53 men in close proximity with another 53 men from a different location touching and harming each other for 60 minutes, yet unable to transfer jerseys to each other, and then have them go in quarantine for only a couple of days to play another team who's in close proximity with those same amount of men in a different area and battlefield. If they really did care they would suspend the season for every 2 weeks, and this should probably get started in October. Bro, Florida hit 15,000 cases yesterday. 4th of July weekend, they had 11,000, then climbed to 12,000. Texas is spiking right now. Oh, and Arizona right next to it is on fire as well. New York just got better. I just gave you the Giants, the Jets, the Dolphins. If you want to count the Jags as a franchise, the Jags, the Tampa Bay Bucks, who have a lot riding this season, the Dallas Cowboys, the Houston Texans, and the Arizona Cardinals. What in the hell are we thinking? We're too damn entitled and we all need sports. We're not past this. If we want this to start on time, we need to shut this mother effing down for about 3 or 4 more weeks. Because right now, we're only setting ourselves up for failure.
No, absolutely, Alex. I do agree with you that if we do want to see an NFL season, these cases are gonna have to subside. The NFL is gonna have to come up with a concept that they're really gonna keep these players safe. And I'm hoping and have faith that they will get it done. Any more comments that you gentlemen would like to add before we wrap up tonight's segment?
I'm just saying, watch the NBA, watch Major League Baseball. If there's a start and stop, then the NFL has to start realizing we might need to postpone this thing. And like I said, I think October would be the best time to do it. But at least they're going to try, and we'll see what happens. I mean, next week we got baseball starting up, so here we go.
Right. We have Rob in the comments that made a comment. He says, when the players start deciding to opt out, people will pay attention.
Ta-da. I mean, we just had another one for Major League Baseball. Jordan Hicks, who's coming off Tommy John surgery. He opted out as well. And I'm still waiting.
Did you have the nerve to bring up baseball around me? 66
just saying, Alex.
Players after the whole money thing. I'm not interested in baseball. They missed the 4th of July. As far as I'm concerned, they're dead and buried to me. All right?
I saw something on Twitter that made me chuckle today. It was like, if you could pick one sport to give up to end COVID, what would it be and why baseball?
You said bowling.
I thought that was genius.
But with that being said, I want to give a shout out to Sportsmed Analytics. Dr. Chona, thank you very much. I don't pay attention to clowns on social media that are big on, football pages because they don't know the credit or the work I put in or what I'm made of. Look for me to expand my horizons and only build. I'm a black man. I create. I don't destroy. And now it's time for me to build a city.
All right. Alex Fleming with Turf Talk. You guys need to make sure that you are paying attention to this guy because he has a lot going on. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, gentlemen. Jake Ragholt with Turning Point Podcast. This is Root the Truth, filling in for Eric Wilson. We will be seeing you guys next Monday for more action. Have a great rest of the week.
Watch it, man.